Welcome to lesson 5.2 on mixed numbers. We are going to be talking about improper fractions and a mixed number. Remember, an improper fraction means that you have a bigger number over a smaller number or a larger numerator over a smaller denominator. A mixed number is when you have a whole number and a fraction. So 1 2/5 in this case is the mixed number. Okay, let's get started. We're going to be comparing fractions. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this before I do our mental math. Oh, one thing I forgot. I want to go back here and talk about our little message. How do we understand mixed numbers and improper fractions? That's our objective for the lesson, and I forgot to do that. Sorry. Okay, so let's go on to IXL. Talk a little bit about comparing fractions. And in comparing fractions, meaning greater than or less than, putting them in order from least to greatest. So fractions and learning fraction order isn't as hard as you may think, but it is really good practice, and there's a lot of really great websites out there for fractions and fraction practice as well. So I'm just waiting. Oh, here we go. Which set of fractions is ordered from greatest to least? Now remember, the bigger number on the bottom does not necessarily mean it's the biggest fraction. In fact, it's just the opposite. It's the less of the fractions. So in this case, if I'm going from greatest to least, my greatest fraction would be 1/2, then 1/3, and then 1/6. Okay? Set of fractions, again, greatest to least. Now, when they all have the same denominator, which is down, the number on the bottom, we look at the top numbers. That's how we can order them from greatest to least then. And if you're looking, we have 5, 3, and 1. So I'm going to pick that one. Now, which set of fractions is ordered again from greatest to least? When we do not have the same denominators, then it gets a little trickier, because you have to also think about, are my fractions reduced to the least, or I should say, is my fraction in simplest form? And in simplest form, it means have I reduced it down. I know that 2/8 is 1/4. I know that 2/6 is 1/3. And I knew that 2/12 is 1/6. So I have, right here, I have 1/4 on my very first one. I have 1/3. And then I have 1/6. So I know that's not right. So let me look down here. I have 1/3. I have 1/4. And then I have 1/6. Oh, maybe that would work. Let's pick this one. Well done. Okay, we're going to stop there. I know it wants us to go from least to greatest now, but we're going to stop there only because I want to do some other work too. But remember, the more pieces I have in the denominator, the less I'm going to get out of it. So remember, the bigger the number on the bottom usually means it's the smaller fraction. Okay, so let's go back to our lesson and do some more practice with mixed numbers and fractions. All right, our math message. It says, take the following pattern blocks: 2 yellow hexagons, 3 red trapezoids, 3 blue rhombuses, and 6 triangles. So what I want you to think about is when you come to class, we're going to be working with pattern blocks. And it says, if a hexagon is 1, what are 5 trapezoids worth? So let's take a look at this. If I have a trapezoid, I have the ability to turn that trapezoid around. Ooh, sorry. All right, and look at that now. I now have made what? I've made a hexagon with 2 pieces. Okay, so if I take the rest of my hexagons and I move this guy over here, I'm going to move him over here, okay? And I'm going to move this one. Oops, wrong thing there. I'm going to move this hexagon over, okay? And I'm going to turn him. Whoa, yikes. Oof, I'm getting a little crazy here with it. All right, and I'm going to pull him. Ooh, there that goes again. Stop moving. All right, there we go. Jeez, it doesn't want to let me move my hexagon, I guess. I keep getting the other thing. There we go. So now, with my 4 trapezoids, I have made 2 holes, and what do I have left? A half. So it says with my 5, if one hexagon is 1, what are 5 trapezoids? Well, I have, how many pieces do I have? And if I do the improper fraction, I have to deal with pieces. So I would have 1 piece here, then I have 2 here, then I have 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, so I would have 5 over, 5 over my, if a hexagon is 1, what are 5 trapezoids worth? I have 5 pieces over that I know over 2, that it takes 2 hexagons, 2 trapezoids to make a hexagon. Okay, now if I counted the holes, I would have 1 hole, 2 holes, and a half. So actually my mixed number would be 2 and a half. 2 and a half, and that would really be, 5 over 2 as my mixed number. Okay, because I had 5 pieces and it takes 2 of them to make a hexagon. So that's how I got that. The other trick is I can do like this. I can multiply and I can add. And I can convert that way. So I say 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 times 2 plus 1, and I still get 5 over 2. And we'll practice that more in class. That can get to be confusing. All right, moving right along. Let's keep going so we can do some more practice. This is math message follow-up. In order to understand a fraction, we must know what represents the whole or the one. If a triangle is 1/3, what shape is 1? Okay, so think about that now. If a triangle is if the triangle is 1/3, what shape is 1? Meaning, if a triangle fits in a third, we can make it in, we can mark it in there. And I want you to write down, if you put a triangle in and it's 1/3, what is the whole? Do 4 triangles fit in a square, trapezoid, rhombus? Be thinking about that, okay? So write down your answer. If the rhombus is a third, what shape is 1? So how many rhombuses? So there's 3. 3 of something, what does it fit into as its whole? Okay. If the triangle is half, what's the whole? So now we're talking 2 triangles. So what would be the whole? What can 2 triangles fit into? All right, and keep scrolling down now, because there's 6 of these you're going to want to write down. If the triangle is 1/3 now, 1/3 of something, what is the rhombus? Oops, I'm giving you the answers. I'm sorry. You can't do that. I'm giving you the answers now. If the triangle is a half, if the rhombus is a third, we don't want to do that because now I give you the answers. Okay, because it gives you the answer. All right, so you should know the answer to the first one. Then you have to write down, if the rhombus is a third, what's the whole? And if a triangle is a half, what's the whole? You should know that though. Okay, let's take a look. In the problems below, the hexagon shape is worth 1. So if I have a hexagon, that equals 1. But how many triangles can fit into my hexagon? How many of my rhombuses and how many of my trapezoids? So if it equals a whole, then how many of these? For instance, if my number on number 4, if I have a trapezoid here, I would say 2 of them fit in the hexagon. So that's 2, and this is 1, right? Because 1 is the whole. All right, so do number 2 and 3 and bring it in, and then the other 3 on this page. All right, perfect. No cheating either, okay? No clicking on that. All right, moving right along. I'm going to erase this beautiful thing here. Ooh, guess I didn't erase. I made more of a mess, didn't I? Okay, well, we'll erase now. All right, let's get finishing up with our lesson so that you guys can work on your other problems. All right, so just another little review. Fractions greater than 1 can be written in several different ways. The mixed number name is 2 3/4. So that means you have a whole number plus the fraction. The name is 11/4, so it means 11 pieces of a fourth. So you have 2 3/4 and 11/4. They're the same, they just have different names. One is the improper fraction, so meaning the numerator is bigger than the denominator, as in 11/4 right here. 11/4, and the mixed number is the 2 3/4. 2 3/4. So if I looked at this right now, I know I have 8 pieces, right? Because I have 4 and 4. So my improper fraction when I'm looking at how many pieces I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them here and 3 of them here. Okay, but if I looked at it as this way, this equals 1 whole and this equals 3/4. So my mixed number would actually be 1 whole and 3/4 because I have 3 pieces shaded. So what would be my improper fraction? Okay, now we want to use how Mrs. Heath said 8. That's an easy thing to do. Oh, I want to count them out, but we're not because we're dealing with fourths. So if I do my improper fraction, then I would have 7/4 would be my improper fraction, which is also the same as 1 3/4. And again, I'll teach you the trick of how to convert that without having to count every time or figure it out. Okay, let's get going. All right, and improper fractions again and mixed numbers, which is what I wanted to talk to you about. So in here I have 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Okay, so I have a whole here and I have 1/3 in the next one covered. So again, hopefully you know that this would be 1 and 1/3. Okay, so 1 and 1/3 is also equals 4/3 because out of the thirds I have 4 of them shaded, and we always take it out of the whole, which is 3 or thirds because that's what it's divided into. Now down here I have it divided into halves. Okay, so we're dealing with the number 2 as our bottom number. And here's what I want you to do with that one. Okay, so we have the mixed number. Let's do that. So I have 2.5 as my mixed number because I have 2 fully shaded and a half. And then how many pieces do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5/2 because again, 2 is what I'm dealing with. 2 is my pieces or my unit. So I have 5/2. Now, I will show you how to convert again in class, so don't worry about how to do that, but I hope you're getting the gist of this. Okay, finally, what is the improper fractions and mixed numbers for the following examples? So I want you to write these down. Okay, so first we're going to do our improper fraction. Hopefully you know we are dealing with how many pieces? We're dealing with 4. So your number for your improper fraction needs to be out of 4. Okay, how many pieces are shaded out of 4? And you're going to write that above the 4. Then, what is my mixed number? How many wholes and how many pieces do I have remaining out of the 4? So write that as a mixed number if it were 2 1/2. It's not, but I'm just showing you that's the mixed number. All right, so that's the first problem you need to do. Then the second problem I want you to do is this one. You're going to do the exact same thing. What is my improper fraction? What is my mixed number? Okay, so how many pieces? I'm dealing with thirds. So remember your improper fraction, 3 is going to be on the bottom. So I'm going to have 3. How many pieces over that 3 do I have? And then when I'm dealing with mixed numbers again, how many wholes and how many pieces do I have left? So it's like 1 and 1/3 if that were your answer. That's your mixed number. Sorry. I'm trying to do too many things at one time. Okay, so hopefully this makes a little bit of sense to you. We'll review these. We'll go over them. I think you had maybe 5 or 6 problems to do. These 2 are your homework, to write the mixed number and the improper fraction. Okay, we're going to go back here to these. These 3 were your homework. If the triangle is worth 1/3, what's the whole? And we did that one. What shape is 1? So these are your 3 for homework. Okay, so that's 5 total problems. And then I think you had to do number 2 and 3. In the problems below, the hexagon shape is worth 1. So how many triangles would fit in that? How many triangles can be that? Okay, so that is your homework for this evening. Hopefully that makes sense. I apologize that my lesson got a little long, but I want to make sure we have a good review, a good base of fractions before we get into too many other things with fractions and decimals. So remember, improper fraction is always your numerator is larger than your denominator, and the mixed number is always a whole and a fraction. Thanks for listening. Have a great evening. Way to go.